overthinking is a result of my fear of the unknown. What's up, bougie bosses? It's your girl, Khala Simmons, and today we are going to be talking about overthinking. All right, so let's just jump right in. My name is Khala Simmons, and I am an overthinker. I have a special talent for taking the most minimal things, the most minuscule things, and dissecting them, breaking them down into as many pieces as I possibly can. All right, like it's insane how good I am at overthinking. And don't get me wrong, overthinking can be good in a sense, in that you can dream, your imaginations run wild. And for me, I'm a dreamer. I love to imagine all the great things that could be. And it's a beautiful thing, honestly, to let your mind kind of spiral in that positive direction of all the amazing things that can happen in your life. However, that's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about today is the negative side of overthinking and the negative effects that it can have on you and have on your life. Even though I'm a very logical person, I like structure, I like order, I like knowing things, that I'm very fact-based, statistical. Is that even a word? Yes, it is. Statistical. I don't know if that's an adjective, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. I like facts and stats. I like that. Yeah, I like facts and stats. So even though I am a logical person and all that good stuff, the inquisitive side of my brain don't really care too much about all the logic and the facts and the stats, okay? Because I'm curious. I just want to know why things are the way they are and why things are happening and why the why is happening. Like, it just is a whole spiral. And in this case, it can be very negative, okay? Prime example, let's talk about what's happened this year, this pandemic that's going on. Obviously, I can't say the name, but you guys know what I'm talking about because it's turned our whole world upside down. Honestly, I never thought much of it in the beginning. I knew it was serious because I had been following along. I was in a class and part of the course was staying up to date on current events, even though that's what we should have been doing anyway, but honestly, that's what it was. So I had known what was going on. I knew it was serious, but keep in mind, we've had Ebola, we've had swine flu, we've had all these other huge pandemics that have never really touched the masses here in the US. So I thought it would be another one of those cases. But when it wasn't and things really started popping off, I just spiraled. And the funny thing about it is this happened right after I said, you know what, I'm graduating in like 2 months. I want to take the time to really live in the moment, bask in the moment, enjoy this time, because I'm always in my head. I'm always thinking about what to do next. And I never really stop and smell the roses. So I'm going to live in this moment because it's never going to happen again. Soon as I have that thought, that's when things really pop off, right after my spring break. And so obviously that sent me into a downward spiral of overthinking, all these negative thoughts coming up in my head, as well as not only in terms of not having graduation, but I was working 2 jobs at the time. Obviously, I couldn't work anymore because both my jobs were through the school. I was an arts and culture editor for the newspaper, and I worked in the housing office. And so I couldn't work either of those jobs because we had to go back home. And that led to even post-grad employment, like, oh my God, we're going to go to another recession. I'm not going to be able to find a job. I'm not going to be able to graduate. I'm not going to be able to experience this or have that. Like, it just was going crazy, spiraling into all of these thoughts that hadn't even occurred yet. And even though some of them did come to pass, it's just in the short term. But I'll get to all of that later. But the point is, I was spiraling. Another example that I can think of is when it comes to relationships, y'all. And not just romantic relationships, but platonic relationships as well. You know, anytime that something happens, and I know there's other people out there like this who who have this issue. Anytime something happens, you always question if you should stay or leave. Like, is this serving me, or should I stay and work it out? What does this mean? Like, what do they mean when they do this, or when they say this, or when they act like this? And what do I mean when, what does that say about me if I respond this way to what they do or they say? Or instead of just, I don't talking to them like a normal person, I just kind of spiral and have all these crazy thoughts of what if this? What does that mean? Why, what if? That whole thing, I always have that. I know, comment down below if this is you too. I know I'm not the only one who's like this. I always kind of have those train of thoughts anytime something happens. Now, it's not as bad now, but it definitely is a big issue that I had, just overthinking every little thing. Granted, you should use your brain, because if you don't use your brain at all in relationships, you go end up in some crazy situations. However, sometimes things just aren't that deep. Like, sometimes you don't need to go down this whole spiral of things, this train of events that hadn't even happened yet. Because what stems that train of events or thoughts in your head may not even be a real thing. It may just be something you conjured up or whatever. It's just something ridiculous, right? So yeah, we all know that can turn bad real quick, overthinking when it comes to relationships. Another example can be in your business, y'all. Like, for me, even though you guys know I knew immediately when I thought of TMP that I was walking in my purpose, that don't mean that I didn't question myself along the way. I done said that multiple times. I knew I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, but in doing what I was supposed to be doing, I was like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing while doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I hope that makes sense. It probably doesn't. But just, how can I put this? Basically, in walking in my journey, I question my direction sometimes. That makes more sense. I hope that may click for you. And so that's something I struggle with. When should I expand? What products and services should I offer? How should I style this? How should I do the layout for that? Is this type of content okay? Is this doing too much? Is this doing too little? How are people going to respond to this? What is my family going to think if I talk about this topic? Or what? Like, just going off the rails, like, with the overthinking, honestly. And granted, some of those questions were necessary to ask, but when it starts spiraling and you start prioritizing all of that, like all the what ifs over what actually is, that's when the issue comes into play. Something that helped me improve on this journey was coming to the realization that overthinking is a result of my fear of the unknown. And y'all, that really hit hard. Honestly, like I said in the beginning, I'm a logical person. I'm a planner. I like to know what's coming. I'm an avid planner. Y'all know this. Well, y'all gonna know especially in about a week, because next week's video, actually, y'all gonna know in like 4 days, something like that. Because yeah, this Sunday I'm putting up a video talking about my planning and scheduling. Y'all will really see how avid of a planner that I am. I love knowing what's coming. I like control, and not knowing drives me crazy. It makes me so anxious, and it's the most horrible thing. I mean, it's a great thing to be a planner, but in times like these, it's a horrible thing because it can really drive you up a wall, honestly. And so not knowing, not having that control, that fear of not knowing what's coming next, it can really trigger all of those negative thoughts in that spiral. And so I had to learn to let go of that. I had to learn to let go of the logic when necessary. I had to learn to let go of all of the political correctness, all the planning when necessary. I had to let go of all of that and really embrace faith. I had to really embrace the unknown and understand that whatever was happening in the moment, good or bad, in the long run, it was all going to work out for my good. And so when I had that realization, that's when I really experienced a shift. Now, like I said before, I still overthink sometimes. I think part of me will always be like that. And I don't know if I want to necessarily change that, because like I said in the beginning of the video, there are good parts of overthinking, letting your mind just kind of spiral into all those positive thoughts. But, you know, I want to reel in the negative spiral of overthinking. So improving in that, honestly, my faith has increased a lot. There's a lot of things that I could probably overthink right now going on in my life, but I'm choosing to just let go of it and keep my head down and know that everything's going to work out. And honestly, in doing that, everything has ended up working out. And so that is only solidifying what I'm saying here even more. The more I see things just come out of the sky and just everything fall into place, the more or the less I overthink. And so that is what I would say to you guys. The world is so much bigger than whatever is going on in your head. And so get out of it, you know, and experience life, experience the world, live in the moment, good or bad. At least you can look back over your life and say you actually were there and you were present, and not just in a physical sense. Because when I look back on a lot of parts of my life, even when things went wrong, it wasn't the going wrong that I regretted. It was the not being present that I regretted. And so that's what I would say to you guys is get out of your own head and experience life. Don't overthink every little thing, because it's all going to fall in place in the end. And that's it. And that's all. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I really wanted to talk about this as it's something that I've overcome, and that in a way I'm still struggling with and working on improving. As usual, comment down below. I want to hear your experiences. Are you more impulsive or spontaneous, or are you like me? Do you overthink every little thing? I want to know down in the comments below. Make sure to like this video. Also, make sure to subscribe and click the bell next to it to be notified. I love you so much, bougie bosses, and I will see you next time. Bye.